Week 4 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to trade and sell this week. The first guy, Joe Ryan of the Minnesota Twins. So the Twins, they're off to a great start this season, and Joe Ryan's been a good success story coming from Tampa Bay to the Twins here. So Ryan, he's gone out there and he's pitched good baseball for Minnesota, but I just don't think it's going to keep up for the rest of the season. So right now, while he's pitching great, he's a guy that's definitely sell high this week. He's in here for Ryan, 27 and 2/3, 3-1 record, 16 hits, 5 earned runs, 7 walks, 28 strikeouts, 3 quality starts, 1.63 ERA, and a 0.83 whip. So right here, he's going out there. He's pitching great baseball, no doubt about it, for this team here. But he's just a guy, I don't see him keeping it up. And even in his last start, we saw him to implode a little bit here. And to be honest, he's had easy pitching matchups the last few weeks, is Ryan. And that's why those stats are up there as well. April 21st at Kansas City, 6 innings, got the win. 2 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks, a quality start. April 27th versus Detroit, 7 innings, got the win. 1 hit in that one, giving up no runs, a walk, 9 Ks, a quality start. And then May 3rd, yesterday at Baltimore, only 4 and 2/3, no decision, 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 3 Ks. So Ryan, he plays, I know, in a division that doesn't have the greatest hitting teams with Detroit, Kansas City, obviously, the Guardians, and even the White Sox are off to a slow start. But right now, I think he's playing a little bit over his head here, is Joe Ryan. And he's going to be a guy that's going to be up and down this season, even with the good start so far this season. So right now, I would go out there and trade him because I don't think he keeps it up. And he's a guy that probably will have an innings cap as well, not going that far into a season so far early in his major league career. The next guy I look to trade and sell is Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners. I mentioned Gilbert as a sell-high guy probably over the last few weeks here, but he's definitely proven me wrong, going deep into games and not giving up runs here for the Seattle Mariners team. So on the early going here for Gilbert, 28 innings, 4-0 record, 18 hits, 2 earned runs, 8 walks, 27 strikeouts, but only a quality start under his belt, but he does have an 0.64 ERA and 0.93 whip. So this guy's pinpoint accuracy so far this season. But last season we saw him get off to a good start as well once they called him up and then hit the wall second half. But like I mentioned, he's not going deep into games. And if he's only going five plus innings, the run support's not going to always be there each and every game here for Gilbert. So right now, I think I could get a boatload for him because he's pitched pretty well now in the first 5-6 starts of the season. So the last few games here for Gilbert, April 20th versus Texas, 6 and 2/3, got the win, 6 hits, no runs, 4 Ks, a quality start. April 26th at Tampa, 5 and 2/3, got the win, 2 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks. And May 1st at Miami, 5 and 2/3, got the win, 3 hits, a run, 4 walks, and 5 Ks. So in the 5 starts this season, he's only got 1 quality start. And like I mentioned, he's not going deep into games as Gilbert here. He's only going 5 innings about, maybe 6 here and there. But he's getting the job done. But right now with the CRA and a 0.6 and the whip low as well, he's definitely a guy I would sell high this week here. And I think you could get 2 players for him, a decent pitcher and a decent hitter. So I would put him on the trade block and see what I could get because there's no way this is going to last all season where he's going to have an ERA either at a 1 or under a 1. The next guy, Tywin Mcgill of the New York Mets, another guy here. He's been pitching great baseball, and he was part of the combined no-hitter a few nights ago for this New York Met team. And this Met team, they're playing great baseball as well. But McGill's another guy, I just can't trust him. And we saw it last season where he got off to a good start when he first got called up, and then the league caught up to him where he had over a 6 ERA in his second half of starts last year. So far here for Mcgill, a guy who wasn't even supposed to make the roster this year until Jacob deGrom went down a few weeks before the season started. 28 innings, 4-0 record, 18 hits, 6 earned runs, 6 walks, 27 strikeouts. But only another guy with 1 quality start, but a 1.93 ERA and an 0.86 whip. So right here, he's off to a good start, no doubt about it. He's definitely going to stay in the rotation. We'll see if Tajon Walker's probably going to be taken out if deGrom comes back and healthy. But deGrom, he's probably still out at least another month and a half here. And Mcgill, the last few games for him, April 19th versus the Giants, 6 innings in that one, no decision, 7 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. April 22nd at Arizona, 6 2/3, got the win in that one. 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality start. And April 29th versus Philly, 5 innings, got the win in that ball game. 3 walks, 5 Ks, no runs in that no-hitter that the Mets threw last Friday. So right here, he's got a tough matchup versus the Atlanta Braves in this afternoon ball game, rubber matchup of the series to see if the Mets will take the series or not here versus Atlanta. So Mcgill, he's pitching good baseball, but another guy like Gilbert that he just don't go deep into ball games really. 6 innings is really his max. I know he went 6 2/3, but that's a weak Arizona team he did it against. And we'll see what he does versus a tough lineup like Atlanta here today. Like we saw him versus Philly, yeah, he threw the no hits, but only going 5 innings, and they worked the count a lot on him. Here's Mcgill. So Mcgill, after what I saw second half last season when the league caught up to him, he's a guy I just don't buy the numbers, especially with an ERA under 2, and a guy who wasn't even supposed to make the roster to go into the season until the injury. So right now you could put Mcgill on your trade block, and he's the talk of the town right now in New York, and he's definitely a guy I think you could get good value for, and someone will overpay for him, especially if he goes out there today and pitches good versus Atlanta. The next guy is David Robertson of the Chicago Cubs. So Robertson, he was a long shot of even making the roster coming into the season here for this Cub team after signing a minor league deal, and he's been the closer, and he's been lights out, no doubt about it, to start the season. 10 innings, 1-0 record, 5 saves, only 1 hit given up. 5 walks, 14 strikeouts, no ERA, and a 0.60 whip. So right here, one of the best closers in fantasy baseball right now is David Robertson. And he's on a Cub team that's middle of the pack. They'll probably be a 500 team at best this season, or I could even see him being traded from Chicago to a big contender towards the MLB trade line. So right now, while he's got no ERA and he's been lights out for fantasy owners, he's a guy I probably could go out there and trade and either get a decent hitter for him or a mediocre starting pitcher, and I would definitely dangle David Robertson on my trade block because there's so many closers in and out of the closer role for their teams. You could always find guys on the waiver wire, and I'm not a big closer guy for fantasy baseball. Some people are, where they try to draft the top 5, top 10 guys each and every season, but I just usually get 1 or 2 guys at the back end, and a save is a save when it all comes down to it at the end of the day here. So if I could trade a guy like Robertson, who's off to a hot start at the closer position, and get something more consistent, and a guy who's going to play every day, or a good starting pitcher, this is a perfect time to do it this week. In the 5th and final pitcher I'd look to sell and trade this week's Miles Mykonos of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Mykonos, over the last few seasons, he's been injured and not productive, but so far this season he's off to a good start. 29 2/3, 1-1 record, 21 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, 25 strikeouts, 3 quality starts, 1.52 ERA, and an 0.84 whip. So the good thing with him is he's actually going deep into ball games, unlike Gilbert and Tywin Mcgill. So Mykonos, he's more of a guy would try to get more for, because like I mentioned, he's gone 7 innings plus twice this year and 6 2/3 another time. So on the season, the last few games for him, April 20th at Miami, 5 innings in that one, no decision, 4 hits, no runs, 5 Ks. April 25th versus the Mets, 7 innings, no decision, 4 hits, no runs, a walk, 5 Ks. And April 30th versus Arizona, 7 1/3, got the loss though, 4 hits, 2 runs, 7 Ks, a quality start. So he's going deep into games. But the St. Louis Cardinals just not scoring for Mykonos for whatever reason. They can't get the job done for him. But he's definitely been a productive pitcher. The win-loss record isn't there for him. But I would put him on my trade block and see what I could get, because he's another guy that might have an innings cap this season here, especially coming off of Tommy John surgery a few seasons ago. And last season, when we saw Mykonos, he just wasn't good towards the end of the season, where he came back after coming off the injury. So right now, well, he's pitching good baseball and going deep in the games. And I imagine, like I mentioned, there's going to be an innings cap for him. He's a perfect sell-high candidate this week. So that's a few pitchers I look to sell and trade here for week 4 of the fantasy baseball season.